Okay, so today we're going to do 2011 roads question. Now, first, this isn't in your paper because it goes back a bit far, so I've printed off the page, and the page should be on the email with all the various information, but you may need to write this down at the side of the page. So I've stuck my page basically here, the back of my 2011 paper, so you'll need to search through the papers that we printed off, look for 2011, and locate that one, stick it on at the back. I lined up my T-square here with this edge of the road to make life a little bit easier for myself. And now we're just going to look at some of the information. So we'll just do part A to start off, but we'll worry about part B in a different video. So what we're told is ABCD is the centre line of the roadway and OC is the circular curve. So I picked this one because we want to get some bit of a circular curve in it, which is typical of these questions. So the section of the roadway AB is level at an altitude of 70. Now, for today, we're going to take that it's all level, right? So as a start off question, we're going to take that all this is level. We're not going to worry about rising roads. And again, if you went in the day of the exam and you completely forgot about how to do rising roads or falling roads, as the case may be, what we're going to do is basically you should follow this method and continue on, and at least you'll get something for this section rather than leaving it blank. So the section of AB is level at an altitude of 70, so that's important. AB is level at 70. So what I'm going to do is let's see if I zoom this out a small bit. Yeah, we'll just write our information to the side. So A to B, level 70 meters. And at least then you can move the page away and you'll have all the information. B to C is also level. So B to C is also level. And it's 70. Okay, and in our case, as I said, C to D we're going to take as level. So this isn't the exact one that was given, because we've adapted it just to keep it a little bit simpler, but the main bits are important. Now this bit here is particularly important. So side slopes for cutting are 1:1.5 and for embankments are 1:2. So I'm going to write these here. Let me see where I'll write them. I'll write them up here just so that we can see it. Okay, so cut basically is 1, and be careful, is to 1.5. So that's a double dot, a ratio. And we have to look at what our gaps between our contours are. So basically we have 60 to 55, so the gap is 5. So therefore, instead of 1:1.5, we need to get 5 as to something. So if we've multiplied 1 by 5 to get 5, we multiply 1.5 by 5 to get 7.5. So what I would typically do then is I would typically highlight that part, and if I want, I could even put a little slash to them. So really all I need to know is cut, the gap between them is going to be 7.5. Now, they don't say fill, what they refer to as embankments, or in other words, banks, that would be on the side of the road. So we're just going to refer to it as fill, and we're going to put up 1:2. So we have to put, again, 5:2. So 5 by 1 gave us 5, 5 by 2 gave us 10. And again, what I would typically do is I would typically circle the thing that's important, highlight or put a line through the bit that isn't. So for fill, gaps are going to be 10 apart. Okay, so what I did here from earlier on is I put X's on the road where nothing needs to be done. So basically, if the road height is 70, at this point here, I need a digger to neither cut or fill. It's literally at exactly the right height. Here is the same issue, and here is the same issue. Now, just be careful when you got to do with falling and rising roads. This may not be the exact point if it's a falling and rising road. But you'll see that in later videos what I'm talking about in terms of that. For today, we won't worry about it. So that's basically that. So then typically what I do is I'll pick a colour for cut to keep things easy. So I'm going to pick a green. I'm just highlighted about there. I will pick a colour for fill. So something that'll stand out on the purple or the pinkish coloured background. Purple will probably be okay. Okay. Might be a little bit dark, but should be okay. Okay. Or maybe I have a slightly lighter one. That mightn't stand out enough on the. We'll go with this one. We'll see how it works out. Anyways, you'll notice the difference between the two. So what we have here basically is we need to look between here and here. So if the road height was 70, right, and then when we get down here, basically it's got below it. What would happen would be the contours are below. So if you imagine that's basically a valley, and the road has to go into that valley. So basically we'd have to build up the road. So the diggers would have to come along and build up some earth. So in this case, we're filling in from here to here. So the first thing that I would do would be write fill. If I want, I could draw the symbol. So the symbol is basically a little circle and then the way it would roll. So in this case, it will roll that way. But typically, I would write fill. There'll be a mark for showing whether it's writing in colour fill or putting in the symbol. I wouldn't be worried about in today's exam book getting worried about a symbol. Right? It's just handy to know for if you're looking at the solution. I would always just write it in. So the first thing I would do is that. And again, if we look at it here, we see our gaps are 10 millimeters apart. So I'm going to mark 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now that probably will be enough. So again, I'd sort of roughly look where I'm starting. I don't want to be drawing extra lines over on a different section. So I'm basically just going to do it right line and have it between here and here. Okay, so we'll see if that's enough. So the road edge is always 70. And again, writing that on the edge is always a good idea. So if the road edge is always 70, this is going to be 65, this is going to be 60, this is going to be 55, and this is 50. This is pretty much the most important thing, is just to get the idea that the road edge is 70. If you went the wrong way, if then you went 75, 80, etc., you'd soon realise that you were gone wrong, because it wouldn't work out with what we have here. So we're 65 and 65 cross. We put an X, and we're going to use a slightly darker green for that bit. We put an X here. We're 60 and 60, we put an X. So I'm not drawing a big football, I'm literally putting an X for a crosshairs. And then often a common mistake then he'll go, oh sure, that's grand, that's done there, and they'd sketch in that and they'd say I have the left hand side done. But just because 50 stopped here does not mean that there's not another contour, which in this case there is, as you can see there, and I'd have to continue that on. So that would be where 55, so don't be afraid of looking out for the numbers up the top. And then something as well that sometimes students do incorrect, I wouldn't draw that anywhere, I'd stop there. This could either go this way, which it actually would go this way, or what some students do is sometimes they accidentally draw it here. We don't actually know exactly where it goes because we can't see this, so I would always just stop there. So I'm happy enough with my fill part here. From here to here then I have cut. So if we look here, the land around us is well above us. So the road we want is 70, the land is 75, 80, 85, so we'd have to get the digger to cut down into the ground in order to put that. So we said we'd use purple for our colour to keep it slightly different. So again, oh sorry, I did it the wrong way around. Fill was meant to be the green, or was meant to be the purple. But anyway, so we'll just go back anyway. So we'll just mark this here with the green. Okay, so that was that side. It doesn't really matter, it's just to make it a little bit easier. So we'll just draw purple on this one. Okay, so the cut is basically 7.5. So 7.5, 15, 22.5, and 30. And again, that should be loads. And all I'm going to do is just heavy that in between here and here. I'm not going to go outside of them because I'm going to get it confused then after that. So again, the edge of the road is 70. What will the next one be? It'll be 75 in this case, 80, 85 and 90, which I may or may not need. Now again, the good point about doing this is that if you went the wrong way around, if you went 65, 60, hopefully it cops soon enough because you have no numbers that are going to equate there. So we will say 75 crosses there, 80 and 80 cross there, 85, and I follow my various points around. So I'm happy enough with that. And a good test would be just to look at the bottom. Does it look somewhat similar to the bottom? And generally, if it does, you're on the right track. Here would just be important that you wouldn't go up past that 90 mark. If it went up past that, you would have touched, there would have been another 90 contour. So obviously that's the furthest that you can draw that curve between. So what I'm going to do now is basically the curved section. So the first thing we want to look is between A and C, what is it? Is it cut or is it fill? So it's lower than 70, so therefore it must be fill. So the gap for our fill is going to be 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out 10 here, and I could mark out another one just in case, but I actually know from looking at this, it's only 65, so I actually only need one curve. So if it's a curved surface, you want to look out for point O. Point O means the origin, and what that is basically the center of the curve. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece here and we're going to draw a little arc around. And again, we look at, well, the edge here would be 70 and this would be 65. So one thing that I should have said is, why is this? Well, basically a parallel, all these lines here were parallel. A parallel line to a curve or arc to a curve is another arc. Right? So that's literally, will be the same gap apart, goes in the same direction and never meets. So again, what we'll do is we take our dark green here and we'll go up like so and bring it around and back like so. Now again, one thing just to check, would I get full marks for that? I may not, because I haven't written in fill there, and I also may have lost a mark here because I haven't written in cut. Okay, so just something simple just to not forget about. So again, if we look here at this side, as I said, in the exam question they talked about this was falling. We're not going to worry about that for today. We're just going to take that this is level. And if we look at it carefully, we can see C to D, 70 meters. Everything is above it, so again it's going to be cut. And we know our gaps for our cuts are basically 7.5. Now it's not 60 degree, or not 45 degree set square, maybe 60 degrees, I don't know, but what I can do is I can use my adjustable set square regardless. So I'll set it to the center of the road. I'll measure out, let's see, we'll do, I might have to do a few, so we'll do 7.5, 15, 7.5, 15, 7.5, and that might be enough. We'll see. So, keeping things consistent, we'll use the darker purple. Okay, so my methods then are exactly the same. I'm going to write 70 here. I'm going to write cut here before I forget. This would be 75, 80, 85, 90 and 95, which I don't know if I'll get as far as. So this is 75 and 75. This is 80 and 80. This is 85 and this is 90. So we have our various points there. Okay, and again I'm going to stop there. So the 95 doesn't actually cross the 95, so we're happy enough with that. So I have fill, cut written in. I have all my things labelled neatly so that the examiner can see. I have my maths shown here. I have some of my info here on the side, so at least it makes it easier for me to look back at the question. And it also shows the examiner what I did. So with that done, I have the question done, as I said, slightly simplified just to start off with.